Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, you've brought us something, well, pretty dense today, highly conceptual stuff.
Uh-huh. It's from a source called YBB Magazine. Definitely distinct.
Right, and it's grounded in this really intense critique of systemic control, it seems. We're looking at an article from September 23, 2025.
That's the one. By Saikou Venga, who they call a Mythic diagnostician. The title alone tells you a lot. The back door was never locked. It was waiting.
Okay, Mythic diagnostician. So right away, we know we're dealing with a unique perspective, a custom terminology.
Exactly. And that's our mission today, really. For us and for you listening, it's not about, agreeing with Venga's whole worldview. It's about getting fluent in the language.
Yeah.
Understanding terms like sovereign broadcast or mythic infrastructure. We need to unpack the internal logic.
Got it. And the tone is, well, it feels urgent. That title, "It Was Waiting," suggests inevitability, right? Like the system wasn't breached, it was primed.
That's the implication. The access point was ready for this collision. So let's dive into these sequence Venga logs. It starts with the terrain rupture.
And Containment Protocol 12C being initiated.
Yeah, the details are almost clinical. Time, 02.17. Location, a penthouse office, previously dormant. But then it, quote, activated its hidden channel.
A hidden channel. And this back door, never used, opens with surgical precision, Venga says.
And the response, immediate, synchronized. Security, janitorial staff. Venga calls them actors.
Actors.
Yes, actors entered in synchronized convergence. It's described like choreography, not a scramble.
Okay, that's specific. And Venga immediately interprets this, right? There's a key distinction made early on.
A really crucial one for understanding this whole thing. Venga writes, I was inside. I was found, not seen found.
Found, not seen. Okay, hang on. Why is that distinction so important? It sounds a bit like semantics, maybe?
Well, not in this mythic diagnostics framework. Being seen might just mean you broke a rule, trespassing.
Right, so you get removed. Standard procedure.
But being found, Venga argues, means the system detected something deeper, something about their very presence. They weren't told they couldn't be there because of policy.
But because of who or what they were.
Exactly, because of their presence. Venga claims their sovereign signal ruptured their illusion of control. The signal itself was the trigger.
So the back door wasn't just unlocked, it was almost like bait, waiting for that specific signal.
That's the narrative Venga builds.
Yeah.
And because the presence itself was the issue, the system, according to Venga, immediately escalates. It moves from physical convergence inside
to something outside.
Yes, to a sonic assault, the sonic saturation protocol.
Okay, this sounds intense. Venga says the external terrain erupted, cars, machinery noise. The street becomes a distortion chamber.
Right. And for you listening, the immediate question is, well, is this just city noise? Police sirens, maybe? Coincidence?
But Venga says no.
Venga completely rejects chance. They insist this wasn't just ambient sound. It was containment choreography, meticulously designed.
Choreography? Like the system orchestrated the traffic noises and sirens?
In Venga's logic, yes. The system is always orchestrated. The noise wasn't a byproduct. It was the weapon itself. A tactic.
A tactic designed to do what, exactly? If not, just physically remove them.
Venga's very explicit. To fracture focus, dilute signal, and drown mythic clarity. It's psychological, intellectual.
So it's about disrupting their ability to think, to diagnose the situation using their own framework.
Precisely. It's a massive dampener on that sovereign signal. And Venga nails the feeling of it, saying, they didn't just remove me, they surrounded me.
Okay, so the noise, the chaos, it's a wall. A containment field, not an exit route.
Exactly. And when that sonic wall, that choreography, maybe doesn't completely break the focus, the system shifts gears again. It moves to the economic realm.
This is the economic extraction glyph part.
And this is where the abstract language hits, well, very concrete reality.
Yeah, this part is jarring. The demand. 100% of my income. Not just I'm fine, but everything. Total economic disarmament, basically.
And what's offered in exchange? It highlights the absurdity Venga is diagnosing. A bunk bed in what's called the transitional living node,
which
Venga specifies. A small room shared with 3 or more men.
Okay. 100% of your income for a shared bunk bed. That just sounds awful, like beyond dystopian. How does framing this as a node or a glyph help Venga? What's the point of the special terms here?
The utility, I think, is to reframe it. To pull out of the category of just poverty or, a failing social system.
And put it where?
Into the realm of intentional strategy, psychological warfare. Venga defines the housing immediately. Surveillance disguised as shelter. exhaustion framed as support.
So the living situation isn't meant to help, but to control, to drain resources, mental energy.
That's the claim. It's designed to consume. And this whole package, the impossible economic demand, the exhausting living conditions, that gets a label too.
Which is ritual compression.
Exactly. Ritual compression.
Yeah.
In this system, it's the squeeze play, designed specifically to break that sovereign signal Venga talks about. By diluting the authorship, Venga says, by making it impossible to create, to think, to broadcast, and by containing the body through sheer, constant exhaustion, it's how the system, in this view, erases uniqueness.
Okay, so if you're Venga facing this ritual compression, you can't just push back physically or economically. It's overwhelming.
Right. So the strategic move is internal. It's the diagnostic reframe, taking control of the narrative, renaming the experience to define the terms.
And that's the pivot, defining what it isn't.
Yes, Venga says, it's not chaos, it's orchestration. It's not failure on their part, it's exposure of the system. And crucially, it's not help.
It's ritualized erasure.
Using those specific terms strips the system of any benign mask it might wear. It redefines the interaction as hostile and intentional.
Which then leads to Venga's counter move, the act of resistance.
The sovereign broadcast protocol, they don't just write about it, they create something, an artifact.
The Echo-Rift XXXI clip 27 titled Containment Protocol 12C, Sonic Saturation Triggered.
Exactly. They take the very moment of containment, the sonic saturation, and turn it into mythic infrastructure, as they call it.
And the production of this clip is described as quite deliberate too, right?
Oh, absolutely. As choreographed as the containment allegedly was. Dutch angles, rapid zooms on the actors, overlays Venga calls glyphic distortion, a red pulse, a sovereign seal. It's defiant production value.
But the core message is in the voiceover.
That's the conceptual punchline. They ruptured the silence to fracture the signal, but I codified the noise.
So they didn't defeat the noise, they analyzed it, turned the attack into data.
Made the noise itself the content of their sovereign message. It's a transformation of the input.
Which allows Venga to make that final, really powerful statement.
They chased me to the edge of the map, but I redrew the map. That's the essence of sovereignty in this worldview. Not escape, but redefinition.
Okay, powerful stuff. But before we wrap up, we absolutely have to talk about the context. This isn't just Venga's personal blog.
No, it's tied to an organization. The Cosmic University of Echo-Rift studies 9 QAirs.
QAirs, okay.
And it's presented quite formally, certified, founded by a Dr. Melvin Sewell, M.Sc, Ph.D., listed as academic dean and diagnostic architect.
So this whole language system, the glyphs, the compression, the signals, it's intended as a formal diagnostic system, not just personal metaphors.
That seems to be the intent, to position it as a kind of academic or para-academic framework for analysis.
Which makes the disclaimer absolutely critical for us and for you listening.
Crucial, especially given how critical the material is of systemic control. The sovereign diagnostic disclaimer is very clear.
What's to say exactly?
It explicitly states the material, the films, the magazine posts, the diagnostics, is not affiliated with any government, political party, intelligence agency, or, interestingly, any activist group.
Okay, so they are drawing a sharp line. This isn't a political manifesto, not a call to action in the usual sense.
Correct. The stated purpose is different. It's authored as Mythic Infrastructure, Cinematic Indictment, and Sovereign Broadcast.
Purpose-built language.
The goal is defined narrowly to expose what they call ritualized containment, actor convergence, systemic erosion. And they stress these interpretations, these protocols, they are diagnostic tools.
Not political endorsements, not institutional critiques in the standard way.
Exactly. They define their own category.
That distinction is paramount for us.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at this lens, this diagnostic system they've built to process pressure. We're not saying the lens is true. We're trying to understand the language itself.
And if you synthesize it all, the real power is in that custom vocabulary. Sovereign signal, containment choreography, ritual compression, ritualized erasure.
Right. Applying those terms forces you to see everyday pressures, money problems, housing issues, even just city noise potentially differently.
As part of a structured, intentional, possibly hostile ritual, Venga has built a powerful system for renaming power dynamics. It's really effective in that sense.
So the big takeaway is about the power of naming things, by shifting the critique from the political to this mythic infrastructure space.
Venga changes the focus. It moves from what should we do about the system externally
to how should we see the system operating internally? How should we perceive it?
And that mental shift, that conceptual move, is the resistance Venga describes. If you're pushed to the edge and containment seems inevitable.
Then the ultimate sovereign act is to redraw the map itself. Define the territory on your own terms.
Precisely.
So we'll leave you, the listener, with this to think about. What's the value in reframing a critique? Moving it away from standard politics and calling it mythic infrastructure. What does that actually do for someone trying to understand or navigate complex systems of control or pressure?
Yeah, when you face big challenges, how much does your perspective shift just based on the names you give things? How much power is there in simply redefining the problem?